Hey, it's Tia Carrere, and you're listening to Kino Kingdom with Britt
and Lazlo
and Rupert. Party on, guys.
Hello, all, and welcome to Kino Kingdom 111, or as we call it, 111, or as Rupert called it, 11 and 1. And then we had to explain, no,
that's not how numbers work.
But today's a nice one. We haven't got any silly Billy action. There's no sponsorships, which is why we're all brassic and just eating pot noodles all the time because there's no money coming in. But what we are going to do is talk about films. Some from the 80s, some from the late 80s. No. And also some modern ones, because I believe you've been to the cinema? Did I even say the word?
I think they call it a kino.
The pictures.
Yeah.
Today we're gonna we've got the ArkinZ'Dar as well. The ArkinZ'Dar for the last episode was Hugh Grant to Andy Garcia. If you want to pause the podcast now, quickly sort it out, and then come back with your answers at the end. But I did this one, and I realised I got the same route as one of our responses from our listeners. So
I suspect there may be some similar routes here.
Yes, I believe so. But obviously we've had the last episode was that Lazlo kindly took centre stage on was for the art of the trailer, the history of movie trailers, which I re-listened to myself actually because it was generally quite interesting. I don't listen to any other ones, and I edited it so it was only me talking in that episode. It was fantastic. It was basically me going, Don LaFontaine. Okay. Fantastic 2 hours. So, but we are going to talk about Robert Redford today because he passed away, bless him, a couple of months ago. And we've basically, Rob, if you're looking down, we had other more important things to do, mate. All right. So
we've been grieving.
We've been grieving. And now it's time to finally talk about some of his best films, aka Spy Game and 3 Days of the Condor. So, Rupert, do you want to put on your trousers and open your mouth and vibrate your vocal cords?
Talk about, yes. So I did actually put together a list of 10 essential Redford movies, but actually weirdly Spy Game isn't on it, although 3 Days of the Condor is. But we'll get to that. Robert Redford, yes. Born 1936, died September 2025. And he was a movie star and an icon. And he did actually win an Oscar as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was for directing. You see, it was Ordinary People in 1980, and that was mostly famous for receiving the Best Picture Oscar over Raging Bull and The Elephant Man, to be honest. So basically, he won an Oscar, but everyone felt it was undeserved. But anyway, he directed some pretty big movies like A River Runs Through It, Quiz Show, The Horse Whisperer, and of course your favourite, The Legend of Shagga Vance.
Did he direct that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No way.
Didn't know that. Yes, so he acted in TV and film in the 50s and 60s, but I guess his major breakthrough was Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid in 1969, alongside Paul Newman. And 9 years later, he founded the Sundance Film Festival, of course, to celebrate independent filmmaking. I believe the Sundance Film Festival is still going. He was also an environmentalist and an LGBT rights activist. And he was briefly mistaken a few years ago for a Trump supporter, but then he clarified that he thinks he's an arsehole and that he's voting for Biden. So that was a bit of a flash in the pan. He was given the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2016, which is a US equivalent of a knighthood, I guess. So he's done all right. He did all right in his life, I guess. And
you didn't mention he was incredibly sexy as well.
I was going to mention that.
Okay.
Kind of when I would get to, I don't know if you both watched movies.
He died in Sundance in Utah.
Did he really?
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah.
Oh,
was he
cool.
running out of a shed with a gun in each hand at the time?
That would be cool.
At the age of 89. He wouldn't be running at 89, would he? He would be ambling.
Staggering.
It would be a putting shed as well. Nothing too dramatic.
Okay. 10 essential Redford movies for me. Butch Cassidy, obviously. The Sting. Similar tone to Butch Cassidy, same director, same star pairing, him and Paul Newman. And then we got the Sidney Pollack trilogy, as I call it, Jeremiah Johnson, 3 Days of the Condor, and Out of Africa. And then All the President's Men, the Watergate scandal one. Sneakers, could have put Sperm Game, but I think Sneakers is it's a really fun caper movie.
Yeah.
And All Is Lost, The Winter Soldier. If only to say he's still got gravitas, and it was a bad guy role, wasn't it? So that was fun. And I'm going to throw in a curveball here. I'm going to say Pete's Dragon, because this was his Silver Age, and it's still the best Disney live-action remake. So there you go. There's his career in a nutshell.
Have you seen The Man with a Gun?
No, I haven't. I do intend to.
It's been on my radar for a couple of years now or so, but it's never come up on any streaming service. And I can't quite bring myself to buy it.
Right. He must have been old.
It might be shit, but it seemed kind of cool. It seemed like a swan song of his, I don't know,
right,
for his acting career.
Because his last on-screen role was Endgame, not that one.
Yes.
For new listeners, by the way, there's Avengers Endgame, and then there's the better Endgame, which is from 1983, starring Al Cliver, a film in which he's such a poor actor that he can't convincingly stand still in a wardrobe where he's hiding at one point. It's fantastic.
All he has to do is look off camera.
You
don't even have to express him. Sorry?
Is Thanos in that one?
Yes.
With Al Cliver.
Yeah. He clicks his fingers to get Al Cliver's attention.
Not even the Gauntlet of Power can make him act well.
You didn't mention the Sting there. I did like the Sting with Paul. Oh, you did mention the Sting, sorry.
Butch Cassidy, because it's the same guy. I kind of never really been into Butch Cassidy, but I love the Sting. It's one of those movies we start watching, you just can't put it down.
Weirdly as well, I know I've been banging on the last couple of episodes about, I'm going to talk about briefly today, that Play Dirty, the Mark Wahlberg film based on the Richard Stark novels by Donald E. Westlake. But The Hot Rock in 1972, the same year as Jeremiah Johnson, Robert Redford starred as John Dortmunder, which is another take on a Donald E. Westlake book. So
good.
He's made so many of those films. So many of his novels have been adapted into screenplays. I'll have to watch that, really.
Yeah, he was pure Hollywood, really, wasn't he, Redford? And yet, and the fact that he was kind of championing independent cinema as well was pretty cool. So he's kind of preparing the next generation sort of thing. So that was nice. Just a good all rounder, really, isn't he?
What would out of the three of us, and what would you say are our personal favourite Robert Redford films?
I don't know if this is my favourite, but it's weirdly one that I've seen a lot of times. Legal Eagles.
Okay.
I think it was even a TV movie, but when I was a kid, we lived in France for a couple of years. And so our family used to send us VHS tapes of films recorded off TV so we could watch something in English language. And Legal Eagles was one of these recorded off the TV tapes that we had. And so we just watched it dozens and dozens of times. Mainly, I think my mum, because she fancied Robert Redford. But it had quite a stacked cast because it had Daryl Hannah and... what's his name? Thingy Dennehy.
Brian.
Yeah, Brian Dennehy, and there was somebody else. It's a pretty good cast, but yeah, a weird TV movie thriller. But there's bits in that. There's moments of sort of suspense that are kind of ingrained in my brain, like when people are spying on him in his apartment and he's paranoid, and then he thinks that there isn't somebody. He gets convinced there isn't somebody there after all, and then he spots the tip of their shoe shining in the street light, so he knows somebody is actually there. And yeah, I don't know if it's a favourite, but it's ingrained in my brain.
It's a nostalgic one for you.
Yeah,
excellent.
I can't remember if I talked about it. It's been so long now since I watched it, but I really like Spy Game. Yeah. I really like his performance in that because it's a part that could have been very boring, but he's got such charisma that he makes everything as he's sort of piecing what's happening together through this sort of third party information he's managing to gain from pottering around this office, an office he shouldn't be in. It's like the most interesting part of the film. It's not like the torture or the spy part of it. It's just him being basically a visual magnet. And I really like 3 Days of the Condor as well.
Yes.
So they're probably two.
I like Jeremiah Johnson as well. I just think he's a bit too sexy for the role, but I kind of like him when he's a bit more playful. So I'd go with either The Sting or Sneakers for me.
Yeah,
Sneakers is, but also it's tough because then he's brilliant in All Is Lost as well. Like considering this,
that's phenomenal.
Nary
that
a
film.
word of dialogue.
No, that's true. That would be my third.
Can we talk about the end of that film? Because the first time I watched it, I don't know how well you remember it, and sorry for spoilers. I thought it was a happy ending. Like, he got rescued. And then I thought about it, and I went back and watched it again, and I think he totally is not a happy ending.
Really? I just assumed it was.
Yeah, because it's cleverly one of those things you could totally see it both ways, depending on your inclination.
I'm going to have to watch it again now, because now I'm in doubt.
Yeah, I think now quite definitively, because I think about the practical realities of what happens at the end. I think it's an unhappy ending.
I remember.
Yeah,
I don't remember the specific details, but I remember coming away feeling depressed. So I'm assuming I probably thought it was depressed. It was a bad ending. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It depends if you think going to heaven is a happy ending, I guess.
Well, I suppose if you actually go to heaven, then it's probably a pretty good deal. It's just pity it doesn't exist.
Oh, bloody spoiler alert.
Oh,
Jesus.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Life spoiler alert.
Death spoiler.
I'm writing these down. They could be episode titles.
Death spoiler. Did either of you watch any... Did you watch League of Legals again, Lazlo?
It's weirdly not available on most streaming services. I did rewatch All the President's Men, though.
Oh, yeah.
That felt obviously quite topical.
That's a smoky film.
Yeah. Shall I talk about that?
Please do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I assume you've both seen this film.
Yes.
Yes.
Many times. So for those who haven't seen it, it's Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman investigating the Watergate scandal. I wouldn't say I don't know how early it is in the conspiracy thriller category, but it's probably one of the original sort of that set up the genre before the word conspiracy became synonymous with complete bollocks. So it's they're reporters, real life reporters who investigated what went on at Watergate and played a fairly key role in screwing over Richard Nixon in the end. And it feels weirdly appropriate to present day circumstances as we face an American government that will go to extraordinary lengths to retain power. It feels kind of simultaneously relevant and also a little quaint, I guess, by comparison. It's certainly a sign of how things have evolved where sort of, I don't know, like Cloak and Dagger is now just open declarations of war, and culpability has kind of been replaced with shrugs and immunity, I guess. So, it's an interesting one. And kind of a weirdly scary rewatch.
I remember having that very same feeling when I watched it last, which wasn't that long ago, and thinking it does seem a little bit quaint, but at the same time that's a bit of a depressing thought because it's still completely valid what was going on, their investigation and stuff, and it was right for Nixon to be ousted, and yet now it would, certain politicians would just shrug it off or lie about it or not care.
Yeah. Or just surround themselves with people who aren't going to take them to task for what they've done. Yeah. So, it's also, I mean, aside from the topicality of it, what I was struck by is how interestingly shot it is as well. There's sort of some really cool kind of extended shots where a character is sat just sort of close to the frame, and yet they've used like a split lens, so the background characters behind them are just people milling around remain in focus as well. And sometimes they're doing things that are a bit distracting. So it's kind of like it positions you where it creates a tension where you're expecting the background to interrupt with the foreground, but it doesn't. So you really pay close attention to what they're saying, because you're trying to zone out the background yourself. It sort of invites you to listen in, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And there's obviously things that have been, you could see films that have riffed on scenes from this left and right. So it's obviously very influential.
Zodiac had a very similar aesthetic, didn't it?
Yes. And again, has that nice thing where they can't research everything with a click on a computer. So there's scenes of them having to like go through shitloads of books to find just somebody's name, So it's cool. I was also surprised how Dustin Hoffman is a kind of secondary. Like, I kind of remember it being a two-hander, but Robert Redford is clearly the main character, and Dustin Hoffman has moments to shine, but he's kind of the sidekick in the relationship. But they're both super charming and engaging, and Hoffman gets to kind of play it cool, whereas Redford is the one who's kind of a little bit more under the gun, which is this makes for a cool dynamic.
Good movie.
Yeah. Definitely worth a rewatch if you're tempted.
What's it on at the moment?
I usually make a note of where I watch these things. I don't think I rented it. It might be on Prime.
Let's have a quick glance.
If it's a good film, it'll be on Prime.
If it's a film from the 70s, 80s, or 90s, it'll be on Prime.
Yeah, it's only rentable at the moment on Usual Suspects, including Rakuten.
Maybe I did
worst streaming service.
Or you can just buy it for $5 on Prime or Apple. So just do that.
Yeah.
So Rupert, what are you gonna talk about, baby?
My Redford is a one I'd never seen before called The Natural, which is on Netflix.
It's a baseball film.
It is. It's a 1984 period baseball film from Barry Levinson. It starts off, the prologue is a 19-year-old played by 47-year-old Robert Redford. They shroud him in shadows in this sequence. So he's a kid with a promising future in baseball, but then a shooting incident ends his career before it's begun. And then it jumps 16 years later to when he's 35, still played by almost 50-year-old Robert Redford, and he's fighting to get himself back into the league. He's signed to the New York Knights, who are rock bottom of the Major League Baseball League. The setting is like Chinese, I guess. Anyway, his talent is kind of realised there, and the team climb up the league, but there are various nefarious political forces trying to take down the team, and they do have some leverage because the bullet in his body is poisoning him, and it could kill him if he keeps on playing. And yet he's so inspirational to everyone. So it's all about, in the end, will he sacrifice himself to inspire the world? And it is pure Hollywood schmaltz. And it
sounds it.
Yeah, it needs a star of Robert Redford's stature to sell it, to be honest, because it does play into all his like star qualities, like the looks, the determined stare, the stoic demeanor, the righteous anger, and a bit of the sly humor. A bunch of stuff basically that would be really boring to watch in the wrong actor, but he gets away with it. It's directed by uber hack Barry Levinson, who made some pretty well-regarded films like Rain Man and Good Morning Vietnam and Sleepers back in the day, and it has a proper cast in it. It's got Robert Redford, it's got Robert Duvall, Glenn Close, Kim Basinger, Barbara Hershey, Richard Farnsworth, Wilfred Brimley, Michael Madsen. Michael Madsen dies.
Yes, Wilfred Brimley played like a 14-year-old younger brother of Robert Redford.
He plays a really cantankerous old coach. It's weird.
That is weird.
Michael Madsen dies in this film, by the way. I don't care about spoilers. But he dies he's running to like catch a ball, and he's like running backwards, and he just runs through like a wall. It's like, you know, like the advertising board at the side. He just runs through it, and it like smashes through it, and it's like, and it looks like he just like crashes through it, and it's not that bad. It's dead. Next scene, dead. Just instant death. I don't know how that happened.
I was thinking of that scene from Naked Gun where the guy jumps up to try and catch the ball, and then the ball just knocks his head clean off.
It's pretty much that.
It's not that. Okay.
It's not. No, I think that would have been clearer that he died from it. But no. By the way, Robert Duvall is only 5 years older than Robert Redford.
Wow.
Which is weird in this film. Yeah. So anyway, stylistically, I suppose this is sort of. It's an interesting bridge between like the pace and editing of like a 70s drama, but then the themes and sentimentality of an 80s or 90s issue drama, which I guess is why Barry Levinson got the gig on like stuff like Rain Man and things. But it's your basic underdog sports story, really, elevated, I think, by the period setting and the cast, and a reasonably snappy script. It's by Robert Towne's brother, Roger, and it has quite a pleasing Americana autumn haze across everything, which is quite atmospheric. But it does use just a bunch of cliched mechanics, really, in the plot. Like the supernatural, inspiring power of women watching pensively from the crowd. It's just a really lazy bullshit trope. Like, the film literally connects the presence of different women in the crowd with his performance on the field. Like, you can't see them, but like his girlfriend must stand up, and then suddenly he's inspired by something that's bullshit, but whatever. But there's some good character interactions, especially between Robert Redford and Glenn Close, who play Old Flames. And there's a really good scene where she's like subtly informing him that he has a son he's never met, but she also doesn't want to derail his career. And it's sort of like all understated and unspoken. It's just an acting masterclass. So that's cool. That stuff's cool. It is a decent movie. It's just a quality Hollywood production, really. Looks good. There's good actors speaking decent lines to each other. But ultimately, it is just a pretty familiar take on the underdog sports drama. But probably worth a watch amongst the crap on Netflix.
It's no legal.
I don't have anything against it.
That's what the critics said at the time. This isn't Legal Eagles, even though it's made afterwards. Like, oh, this isn't as good as the script I've read for his next film that isn't made yet. I think I talked about it. Movie. I think I talked about Spy Game last time, so I've only watched one Bobby Red film, and I've talked about it. But Spy Game is fantastic. So instead, obviously, we love you, Robert Redford, and I will have to watch some more.
Absolutely.
But can I get like 3 of my 2-minuters out the way, one after the other, if that's cool?
Sure.
Cool. I think Lazlo talked about this. Play Dirty with Mark Wahlberg.
Yes.
I watched this, and I haven't got much to add. It's clearly not very good because I watched it in 7 separate parts. Like, I would watch it and think, I'm not feeling this. And then the next day I'd think, well, come on, Britt, it's Donald Westlake. You're going to like it, and you like Mark Wahlberg. And then I'd watch another 15, 20 minutes and it wouldn't grab me. And I sat through it all, but it just felt just completely vapid. And I never need to watch it again. Or maybe it'll be one of those films in like 5 years I'll think, maybe I wasn't in the right mood. But yeah, I just didn't. It just did nothing. It just felt like a Mark Wahlberg film. I felt nothing for it. And the other two I'm just going to quickly get rid of, and it's literally just going to be a 30-second job. I watched over the Halloween period, I watched the Goosebumps films that Rupert watched, with the Jack Black films. And I know you prefer the second one to the first one, but I was the other way around because I thought that the first Goosebumps film was like a celebration of the Goosebumps, the franchise itself, like all the characters, and it was good for newcomers because I haven't obviously read. I think I've read a few of the books, but it felt like its own little fantasy world, and I felt like I was being taken on a little bit of a thrill ride, and I really enjoyed it. Plus, there's a werewolf in it, which is my favorite monster. And the sequel is like it felt like a low budget version because it's it starts off and most of it is like, I think his name's Slappy, the mannequin. They're not mannequins. What are they called? The puppet sort of thing.
Puppets, yeah, basically the puppets from Toy Story 4.
And it was like that. It felt really low key, and it was just kids. With this puppet for like an hour, and then the last 30 minutes kicks off, but to like a lesser extent than the first one did. So the sequel, to me, whilst it was sort of tighter, it felt less celebratory of the franchise and the history behind it. And it also felt like it was another script that they just tacked the Goosebumps name onto.
Yeah, that's possibly fair. I think for me, I've no knowledge or familiarity with the Goosebumps books, so I didn't like for the first one, it didn't really mean anything to me in that way. But I just liked how the second one's a good introduction to horror tropes. So I quite enjoyed that part of it.
Wrong. No. Really defensive.
They're both good movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if my son was, if he was one of those films that they're good because this and that haunted house film, Monster House, I could happily watch every year because they just have that kind of silly like popcorn vibe. So if this was a film that I have to go back to every year, so be it. I'd have no problem with it. Although I would gear my son more towards the first one. I should remember the sequel was fucking shit, and Uncle Rupert was wrong. He's a cunt. Do you remember? No, I'd obviously just watch them both. But yeah, those and Monster House. That was a good Halloween kid session. That was. And that's it. I'll pass back to Lazlo. Is it? And the other three then. I've got three left. One of them is another 2-minute that we've covered before. So I'll do that one next.
You're rattling through your list. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. Have either of you seen this?
Oh, is this another Robert Redford film?
Yeah.
I thought so.
No, it's Jeff Bridges.
It's Jeff Bridges and Clint Eastwood.
I saw this. I think I saw this last year or the year before. It's the one where they're trying to get to the money.
Yeah. Amazon Prime has probably tried to shove this into your eyes, like it
Michael
has me for the
Cimino.
last few months. Yeah, his first film, apparently, from 1974. I did not enjoy this film, but I've been looking forward to watching it. So yeah, this was quite disappointing. Anyway, the basics of it are there's part of the reason why I didn't really like it is there's very little plot going on for a large chunk of this film. It's got these beautifully composed scenic vistas it opens with, and I was like, oh, this is nice. I'm loving this. Clint Eastwood is dressed as a priest, and then a guy bursts into his church and starts trying to shoot him, and he has to run through these fields. And then Jeff Bridges turns up in a car, sees him being chased, so then he tears off the road and runs over the guy chasing him, and he hops in. And you think, cool, okay, these are a couple of bank robbery type guys, but they don't know each other at all. And you're like,
why did he do that then?
Yeah, like you ran off the road, ran over someone. You could have been a cop for all you know.
Yeah.
And then just picked up some random guy in your car, and then they have to like sort of vaguely make friends. There's nothing happens for a reason. So there's no plot established up front. Clint Eastwood's being chased for some reason. Jeff Bridges, he steals a car, and then he runs over the guy. So he's got no real aim in life. He's just bumbling around. And then they get together and then just hang out and become friends for a while, stealing cars and then occasionally Clint Eastwood's old gang who like that guy who was chasing at the start is part of his gang pop up, but they just magically find them wherever they are. They're not tracking them. He's not hanging around in familiar haunts or anything, so it doesn't make any sense. And then they go off and then they sort of had just like a needlessly long scene where they just hook up with some prostitutes and shag them in a motel. And I was sitting there going, why is this all happening? I don't know what's going on. And then I remembered in retrospect, they're probably shagging prostitutes just to make it clear to the audience that they're not gay, because they needlessly, seamlessly just like hang out with each other and immediately like each other. And so they like, right, we've got to have them have sex with some girls. Anyway, it's about 40 minutes in that finally Clint Eastwood suggests that they could rob a bank. and you're like, oh, okay, we're going to have a plot, and his gang catch up with him, and then they decide to join forces for reasons I couldn't really understand. But then it takes another 30 minutes of them bickering about how they're going to do it and amongst themselves, and then they all get day jobs where they sit around and they come home and put money in a pot. And I was like, what am I missing? I don't understand why this film is beloved. And I was like, are these jobs related to the heist? I'm not even sure that they were. It's just so weird. And then at the end, there is a heist, but it's a bit underwhelming. There is a cool bit where they use like a flak cannon anti-aircraft gun to shoot through the wall of the vault. It's not a very high tech way of doing it, I guess. But and then when they leave the bank, they park up in a like a drive-in next to this big bank, and get caught because they've got people hiding in their boot and somebody heard them. So you're like, what? They're just idiots. I don't understand why we're even rooting for these guys. Does anyone mind if I spoil the end of this film? Because this was like the kicker.
Not at all, no.
No, absolutely fine.
After there's like a police chase after they leave the drive-in, and then one of Clint's old gang beats the crap out of Jeff Bridges, but they get away. And then at the end, there's a twist where they realize that they can locate the money from the old heist that Clint's gang were so pissed with him about because the money disappeared, and they realize they can obtain the money. But then the last 10 minutes, Jeff Bridges starts like bleeding out of his ear, and he starts slurring his words occasionally, and he slowly dies over the last 10 minutes of the film from like a bleed on his brain or something.
What?
And and you're going, what is going on with him? Why is he occasionally sort of stuttering and slurring, and his mouth starts drooping like he's having a stroke, and then he just dies in the car as they're driving away. And you're like, yay! I don't know. I thought it was crap.
Was it? It's quite a celebrated film, this, isn't it?
I know.
I think it's just because it's got Michael Comino's name attached to it. I'm pretty sure I'd said when I definitely agree with a lot of what you said. Especially, I think I remember it specifically saying about how they need to establish that they're not gay, like in quite a graphic way. But also, I just think Michael Comino's the wrong director for the material as well. I think it gives it. There's like a lack of energy to it because he's not a brisk director. He's not like a light director, is he? So.
Yeah.
Any kind of like anarchic energy that it could have been is just lost.
Yeah. It's nicely shot and all that stuff. It feels like a breezy, fun buddy heist film that's laden with this sort of formal framing and it's just some very, very bizarre editing choices and a much it's much longer than it should be. And then they tag on this ending where you're like, I'd be quite happy to watch those two because obviously they're hugely charismatic and entertaining character, actors. But yeah, then it kills one of them off anyway. So you're like, well, there we go. No more adventures for Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. Yeah.
It's like if it had been made 10 years later, you can imagine it'd just be a totally different movie.
Yeah.
Like a kind of Midnight Run or something like that. But it's not. It's just.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, was it ahead of its time then? Is it just like one of the first to? I don't know.
Well, because it is a buddy movie, but it's a depressing buddy movie, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the problem. Yeah, and it's got that like 70s aimlessness going on, which is not great. Yeah, I think I probably liked it a bit more than you, but
the main like antagonist of his old gang is what's his
Brian Dennehy?
Frank Drebin's like
George Kennedy
captain in the Naked Gun film. So it was quite fun to see him playing a serious role and trying to be tough.
You're like, but I don't believe you anymore.
Yeah.
He was also in Hired to Kill, Brian Thompson, of course.
Is that in Brian Thompson in that film? Does he seduce like a beautiful woman?
No, he seduces Oliver Reed.
Right, I always get that mixed up. I always get Oliver Reed mixed up with Shannon Tweed.
Okay. What's Thunderbolt and Lightfoot on? If anyone wants to be as disappointed as the rest of us.
That was on Amazon Prime.
Of course.
Hey, I haven't seen it, so I'm yet to be disappointed.
I think it was leaving Prime, which is why I watched it with some haste, so it may have gone. Apologies. Or maybe I've saved you 2 hours of your life.
Yeah, I think you're probably not going to bother watching this one, to be honest, given that I thought it was okay and Lazlo hated it.
Yeah, it's not really the Kino Kingdom seal of approval, is it? Not like Ninth Configuration.
Exactly. Should I talk about The Running Man?
Oh, which one?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'll talk about them both because I watched them both. And
yeah, let's do a double
header. I'll talk about the cinema, the 2025 version first, and then we can all join in with the party.
I've never seen the one from 1987.
I think you might have watched it twice in one day.
Yes, I've watched it many times over the years.
So, The Running Man. It's the future. Glenn Powell needs money for his sick child, so he joins The Running Man, a game show where, after a 12-hour head start, contestants are basically free-range targets for anyone, including trained hunters. And if they survive 30 days, you get like £1 million. But no one's ever done that. But Glenn is angry and he's very determined, so he must have a chance. This is Edgar Wright directing a more faithful adaptation of the Stephen King / Richard Bachman novel from 1982.
It wasn't called The Running Man, was it? It was called something else, the novel.
I think the novel was called The Running Man, but it was Richard Bachman, not Stephen King.
That's what I'm thinking of then. Yeah. It was a pseudonym, yeah.
Yeah. So the novel is set in 2025, which makes this quite apt. It was also written at a time when network television was arguably at the peak of its cultural influence. So already we know that the idea of having a TV network having omniscient control over the populace is unfeasible. And, well, we'll get to the original Running Man, but I guess the qualities of the original Running Man, which was not faithful to the novel, but it had a lot going for it. It was fun, but this is not. It was half an hour shorter than this one. It was simple, whereas this one's overplotted. It was fast-moving, whereas this one has treacle-like interludes between brief bursts of action. And crucially, it reflected the mood of its time in terms of the top-down dominance of mainstream media. But this one, yeah, it just makes no sense, really, having this massive TV network controlling everything. There's this whole subplot about AI being used to change, what's his name, Ben Richards, to change his messages to make him look callous. And of course, the mob just laps it all up. But that makes no sense either, because they're trying to make it like modern, but it fails to recognize that with the proliferation of AI comes like an increased level of skepticism among the people. So where are all the podcasts and stuff where people are picking apart these videos? It's like weirdly patronizing and simplistic, that the idea that we just lap all this stuff up based on one official corporate broadcast, as if it has sufficient cultural weight still to hoodwink an entire generation. But yeah, so Ben Richards in this one is presented as perennially angry, which is kind of funny at first, and then it just becomes an inconsistency in his character because he still thinks clearly and doesn't just blaze into situations. So I don't really see the relevance of him being presented as angry.
What's his sort of background as a person in this? Is he like from the military?
He's a blue-collar worker, like just a regular Joe. Of course, as soon as he takes his top off and he's just wearing a towel, you're like, is he just a regular Joe though? Because he has been to the gym once or twice.
And there's Steve as well.
Wow. Anyway, so I guess the whole anger thing, because it's weirdly prevalent, I guess it's their way of trying to make the film relevant to today's audience, like latching onto a general state of anger about society, the rage we all supposedly feel about being mere slaves to mega corporations. mega corporations like, for example, fucking Paramount Skydance, who distributed this film, founded by billionaire David Ellison. You know, it's a bit ironic, but whatever. So visually, the film sometimes looks good, especially like in the early like world building scenes. But as the action ramps up and the scope broadens out, a lot of it just looks bad or just second unit. And then you've got Edgar Wright is known for like snappy dialogue scenes and snappy editing, but the dialogue, to be fair, it's not his, but it's just bad dialogue. It's like, how many times do we need to be reminded that Glenn Powell will do anything for his family? It's like, we've established that in the very first scene. And yeah, and I thought the editing was a bit of a mess as well. And also, it doesn't help that the hunters themselves are so boring. Like the 80s, what was it, 88 film? The older film, the Arnie film.
Why do I think it's 87? I'll quickly check now.
Because he made all his films in 87.
It is 87.
Oh, come on, hell, he really packed them in, didn't he? Okay, so the original had almost like video game bosses, although like gladiators, weren't they? They were each was like a unique elemental character
with like like a power. Yeah,
these guys are they're just faceless goons, literally faceless. In the case of Lee Pace, so Lee Pace wears a blank mask for 90% of this film. No one covers Lee Pace's face.
You fancy him, don't you?
Yeah. It's got terrible music. It sounds like a placeholder track. It's like it's really dramatic and bombastic during quite dull dialogue scenes, as if we might be tricked into thinking it's exciting. And I just found the whole thing really quite boring. It's like 133 minutes. I do kind of wonder if there's a 90-minute cut that removes a lot of peripheral characters, because Michael Cena turns up in this. I can't even remember why. Yeah, if they could just remove some of the peripheral characters. But I don't think any cut could fix the last act of this movie, which follows King's novel actually quite closely. A novel that Stephen King wrote when he was at the peak of his like drug binging, I'd like to point out. So, but yeah, it follows his novel and then totally chickens out at the end as well. So it just changes that part of it to chicken out.
Oh yeah, because I know the original ending. Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
You know, yes, exactly. So you can imagine what happens. So then, that was crap. So I watched the original Running Man, and it's better. There you go.
Do you watch it straight afterwards, like to wash?
I did actually. I watched it the next day because I thought I don't remember this being this boring, because it takes the basics of King's novel and turns it into just like a very propulsive action movie. It hits many of the same plot beats without endless exposition and overcomplicated plotting, and the whole network TV satire, you know, with like made up ads for ridiculous TV shows. It isn't quite as like on point as Verhoeven, but it's in the same ballpark, and it's relevant for the time, and also the film gives Ben Richards a very streamlined dual purpose: basically survive the game and prove his innocence, and that's it. That's all he's kind of wanted to do. And then on top of that is kind of like you've got this effort to reveal the truth to the ignorant public, but that's kind of outsourced to a sub character, which quite cleverly. So it doesn't complicate Arnie's like purpose. It's outsourced to the sub character, and then it's carried forward by the protagonist out of honor once he dies. So it's just
does anyone at least have like as good a death line as Yaphet Kotto does in the original?
Which one?
That's one of the best death lines in the 80s. That is. Do you remember it?
I can't remember.
And he gets Sub-Zero like
some one-liners in this movie.
In the original, Yaphet Kotto gets gutted by Sub-Zero, doesn't he? And and as he's dying in Arnie's arms, he says, "I don't want to be the only asshole in heaven." Fucking what a man. But yeah, and that's the thing. Like as the original, when like Weiss and stuff are getting killed off because they're such cool characters, you're actually like, fuck, let's gut in. Yeah. I tell you what shit about this new one as well, and I haven't seen it. The poster is dreadful.
Is it?
It looks like, if you go on Wikipedia, it looks like something someone has knocked up like in paint. Just,
really?
Yeah, really photoshoppy and cheap and straight to DVD in like 2005.
Oh, really?
This is very disappointing, isn't it? I mean, Edgar Wright, right. I don't feel like he's made a solid gold great film yet. I feel like every one of his films comes with some caveats, but usually he can be relied on for like pin sharp editing and
It's so weird that this is so
dialogue,
flabby. It's bizarre.
It's disappointing.
It could be a case of what was that? Doctor Sleep. That was another Stephen King adaptation, right? Which is crap. And it's like
better than the original, wasn't it, Rupert? I thought.
Oh, here you go. Is it?
No, but with Doctor Sleep, like I think it was like a well-made movie, but it's just a bad story. Like there's nothing you can do. Like if you're going to be faithful to that story, it's going to end up being bad, whatever you do, sort of thing. And I think it kind of might be the same here because the way they adapted it in the 80s was just better, and it as a movie, it was just better. And also, one thing very clearly missing from the 2025 version is the audience's like insatiable appetite for death. Because if you remember in the movie, Richard Dawson keeps bringing people out from the audience to say, "Oh, who's gonna kill him then? Which of the hunters, whatever they're called, is gonna kill him?" And they always go, "Oh, Sub-Zero or whatever," and they were all just like really hungering for death. And
the baying crowds as well outside, like rabidly betting on it. Yeah.
All that but there's a key turning point because there's a reason for that. There's a key turning point when the host asks this old lady, "Who's going to make the next kill?" and she turns it around and says Ben Richards, and we see the tide of opinion turn, and it's like then it becomes like a kind of gladiator type story, which is very movie like and just a really cool way of instantly showing how like public opinion can switch so quickly. Also, amazingly, this Arnie movie does a better job of giving us a sympathetic female character with some agency as well. So yeah. Oh, possibly of interest to Lazlo. Richard Dawson was born in Gosport.
Was it?
Why would that be of interest to anyone?
Separate our neck of the woods. I was born in Gosport.
Oh, really? It's a shithole, is it?
Yeah. Me and Ricky D.
It was fine before he was born. And then overnight, it just went downhill.
So just watch the original, which is on Netflix.
Am I off base to say that I don't really like the original Running Man that much?
I didn't think I did either, but then after watching the new one, I rewatched it and I realised this is just a really fun, fast-moving movie. Silly as hell, but
yeah. I think that's what I've never just gravitated towards it. Of all of Arnie's films, is there's the corniness of it. Yeah, but
it's got the same.
I should give it another go. It has been a long time.
Yeah, like it's no real. It's definitely more in the Commando Raw Deal kind of ballpark in terms of silliness. You're not going to like Predator and Terminator. You can take them seriously and they still hold up as serious movies, but it's definitely but it's fun and it's so reflective of its time in a way that the modern one is not.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Can I quickly do another 2-minuter?
Absolutely.
And then I'm on to my two proper ones then. For the first time, I watched They Live from 1988, so I'm just moving forward one year.
First time?
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? I thought that as well, because I was over our mutual friend Ben's house. Maybe I was in a sort of situation where I wouldn't be able to legally drive a car, but I was okay on a pushy. No, I realised. I said I think I've seen so many clips of this that I felt like I'd watched it, but I hadn't, and I watched it, and it was fun, but it did very much feel like a one and done. Like I watched it and I enjoyed it, and I thought I really don't think I'll ever feel the need to watch that again. It's probably my least favorite John Carpenter film, although I did enjoy it. No, I enjoyed it. I like the sort of, when it's black and white, the sort of 40s aesthetic with the sunglasses. And I like Roddy Piper. But again, I've seen Tough and Deadly with Billy Blanks and Roddy Piper about 8 or 9 times. I watched this once and I thought, do I ever need to watch that again?
Is Tough
I
and
think
Deadly
it's
the one where he can't run?
That's every film. That's Jungle Ground, Tough and Deadly, you name them, mate. He did 2 films with Bailey Blanks, good. But I think my problem with this was that it's the whole thing about aliens taking over and him being able to see them if you put these sunglasses on. It's so broad that, and it's a lot of Roddy Piper just like bumbling around, like repeating the same scenes effectively, telling people to. I don't know. I just felt like it was fun, but not. When it finished, I thought I can't really remember much apart from the key scenes, and it didn't go into my head the same way like The Thing or The Fog or any of the other John Carpenter films does. It was just, and I love Roddy Piper, so it was cool. But yeah, I don't think I need to watch it again.
I think it's far from his best.
Yes,
I think it's not his worst by any means. But yeah, it's a bit more like it's iconic in certain ways. Like obviously, like
the fight scene.
It's a fight scene in the middle with Keith David. It's so unnecessary. It's like, can we make this 90 minutes? Yeah, let's just have 10 minutes of just wrestling in an alleyway. Brilliant.
It tickles me as well that he hides those boxes. He hides. Bear in mind, I've never seen this before. When he gets those sunglasses, which are the key to humanity's survival in the world, and he hides them in a bin, and then he's surprised when he goes back days later and the bin has been emptied by the council. And I thought, well, you probably shouldn't have put the most important thing in your possession in a bin, should you? So
have we lost Lazlo?
Oh, we have. Lazlo has left the building.
Just keep talking about They Live.
Yeah, we'll keep on talking to see if he rejoins us. I might leave this in. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just noticed he's dropped off. So, not dropped off to sleep.
I'm appalled by the fact that you criticised They Live. So I can't listen to this anymore.
He's gone to bed. Yeah. So, I tell you what then, shall I just carry on while he's gone? Oh, I'm going to have to edit this out, aren't I? He's messaged.
My internet just bottomed out. I can't hear anything. She's gone deaf as well. Jesus.
The link I sent him should still work.
Yeah, I think he should just be able to slip back in. Slide between the sheets.
52 minutes in. I guess we'll give it a minute before he comes back.
Yeah, They Live is one of those ones I don't go back to a lot. Like, I can go back to a lot of Carpenter films. The Thing, The Fog. Even Prince of Darkness, I think I'd go back to before They Live.
Yeah, I feel like with They Live, it's such a high concept that when you sort of think, when you've seen it once, I can't imagine would offer much on revisits. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something with the. It's like it makes a big deal of, the conceit that you put the sunglasses on, you can see the truth. I'm not sure it really makes the most of that. Like as an idea, I feel like more could be done with that idea, other than just wandering around looking at people in suits and seeing them.
Yeah, and then they see him and they talk into a watch, and then he has to go on the run, and then loads of police turn up, and it just feels like an interesting idea, relatively poorly executed. Like it doesn't. It's like the same tone all the way through, where it's like, okay, this is. Oh, are you with us, Lazlo?
I'm back. Hi.
There he is. Oh, I won't bother. So yeah, apologies, listeners. I'm not going to edit this out because he's back now. I thought I'd have to start. But yeah, just
that much.
Yeah, he doesn't say that many interesting things. He's only on the podcast because we fancy him. But yeah, it feels like you said, Rupert. It feels like this is the plot, and then it just stays at that level throughout the whole thing. Even at the end, when it all kind of ramps up a little bit, I was not really engaged. It's like I feel like. There's aliens. He's discovered them. He's trying to make other people see it, and then it ends. And I don't know. There was no like tension, and he's such a sort of goofily charming character that there's no. It sounds a bit silly to say, but there's like no character arcs or anything. It's just him in New York or LA, wherever it is. LA, I think, wandering around, just trying to do the same thing over and over again, and it feels like it never moves forward from that first step.
It hangs heavily on its central conceit. It's like the most meme-worthy of all Carpenter's films.
Yeah.
It's probably quite telling about the fact that it's like a cool idea which isn't executed that well.
I think if you found a really big fan, well, not really big fan, but if you spoke to someone who says, I really like They Live, and you said, okay, name 5 favourite scenes or 5 quotes, apart from the kick-ass and chew bubblegum and the fight scene, I think they would struggle. And I think if they were forced to watch it again, they would have to admit, I'm looking with rose-tinted spectacles at this. Unless I'm missing something, which I'm happy to admit.
I assume in my brief absence, I've missed you talking about the fight scene in the alleyway.
Yeah. It is.
Did you feel that it was too short for you, that fight? Did you want it to go on?
I loved how clumsy it was. I did. And what I really enjoyed was I was watching it and I was thinking, come on, do a wrestling move. And there it was, a backdrop. Yeah, imagine someone doing a backdrop to you on concrete. You would lie there and you would pick up your phone, you would dial your boss, and you would say, I'm going to be late for work tomorrow.
And these days, they'd just do it on like a rubber fake tarmac, but not back then. No. Good luck.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it, and if I was around someone's house, we were all having a drink, and they said let's check it on, I'd have no problem with it, but I would probably be on my phone for most of the film because I know I would get nothing from it on a second viewing.
Brutal.
Is it because you're secretly an alien and you don't want people to watch it?
I'm a skinless alien. If anything, I've got too much skin. Lose some of the bloody stuff. Too much skin. It's one of my favourite zombie film, actually.
It's tonally, it's a bit weird, isn't it? Like with the bubblegum line, it's like he's not really shown any sense of wit,
threat, wit, and there's no like real sense of threat because he's so sort of like breezy with everything.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I'm with you on this one. Really, I enjoy it as a culty oddity, but it's definitely not a Carpenter favourite.
No, it's not one you come back after, not that we do this anymore in our 40s, but you come back after like a night in the pub and think, I'm going to put They Live on. You'd watch Running Man, let's be fact.
Escape from New York.
Yeah, you'd put on to Escape from LA. Ooh, is Escape from LA better than They Live? Ooh.
I think I'd be more likely to watch LA than They Live these days.
Bloody hell.
There's Kurt.
What a man Kurt is. He likes Tombstone, by the way. He likes Tombstone.
Who doesn't?
I need to watch that again. 92 at its finest. So yeah, that's the other two I've got now are actually like new films we haven't discussed on the podcast before. So is it Lazlo again?
I believe so.
I'm going to 2 minute talk about. It's not a trashing. It's just I don't have an awful lot to say about it. Black Bag.
A 2 minute taster.
2 minute taster. There we are. About Black Bag by Steven Soderbergh. Have either of you watched this one?
No,
I've never heard of it.
It's on the list.
It's on Now TV if you have that. So this is a new film. I think it came out this year, starring Michael Fassbender as an MI6 spy who finds out that somebody in his team may be a double agent, and he invites them all over for dinner to drug them with like a truth serum in their food and drink and see if he can find out who is who.
Brilliant.
That's the kind of setup. That's not the whole film, but everything sort of spawns out of that scene. And the issue being is that his wife, who's also a spy, is on the suspect list. So while she's aware of what he's up to, he's also, is he or isn't he playing her at the same time? He plays an interesting character. It felt very heavily inspired by like what's his name? The Smiley character from like John le Carre. He's like he puts on a weird voice and he wears thick glasses and he doesn't say very much, and when he says things, it's stuff you should be paying attention to. And this is a very enjoyable, almost like John le Carre light, because it's just slick and fast. It's like 90-minute tense. Well, occasionally tense. Actually, it's not that tense, but it's all plot and it's all like brain thriller. And the cast is great. There's lots of like familiar faces and it's stylishly shot. But ultimately, I think it felt a little bit thin and a kind of a little bit forgettable. And and it reminded me a lot of The Killer that Fincher did for Netflix, also starring Michael Fassbender, in that it feels like a mood piece exercise in sort of genre rather than a film with heart and a lot of kind of care put into it. It feels like a mechanical piece that's very well fine-tuned rather than a fully fleshed film with feelings and emotions and stuff. So yeah, a very enjoyable, like 90-minute blast of spy kind of thriller fun, but it's ultimately a bit thin. And there's don't expect action because there's almost no action in the whole thing. It's all people talking in rooms and skullduggery.
I see you're lighting my fire here because I really like The Killer and 90 Minute and like this. Pierce Brosnan's accent in this film, would you like to go into detail about it?
It's questionable, but maybe that just adds to the intrigue. You know, is he who he says he is? Is he really from Ireland, or is he from London, or somewhere else entirely?
Possibly South Africa.
Up to interpretation. I mean,
I
was just distracted by Fassbender's voice. To be honest, he's affecting a strange tick of a voice throughout this whole film as well. Kate Blanchett's very good in this as well. She kind of chews up the scenery, and there is a good twist in the middle that kind of flips things around. And the less you know, the better. Don't expect an earth-shattering, changing film, but just if you like some spy action, it's it's good.
This is kind of like a third-party film of the week for me at the moment because this is the one that's getting me going at the most that we've talked about. What's the dialogue like?
It's good. It's really finely tuned. It's like people talk when they need to talk, and they say exactly all they need to say and no more, kind of thing. It doesn't feel there's no waffle. It's all business, really. So good.
Is it like a sort of smooth, born under the cave of gore jazz soundtrack?
I can't actually remember what the score was like.
That can sometimes be a good thing, I find. When it kind of just sits in the background, I do like that one sometimes.
Let's just say it served the story just fine because it wasn't a distraction.
Oh, fair enough then. As long as it wasn't a load of slowed down piano female sung ballads of 80s pop songs, I'm happy, to be honest, these days.
Yeah, no, none of that. But this is by Steven Soderbergh. He's been around the block and knows what he's doing usually. Mm-hmm. This is not one of his experimental numbers. This feels like a nice exercise in genre tropes and stuff.
It's written by David Koepp, which rings a bell. Secret Window.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Don't get excited. When I saw that name, I was slightly surprised, but also slightly not surprised because he's basically a Hollywood gun-for-hire script doctor kind of guy. And this has that like efficiency of like a writer's film. But again, ultimately, it sort of services a genre rather than feeling like an earnest, from the heart kind of thing. It feels like an exercise in genre.
Okay.
Where is this available?
I watched it on Now TV.
Oh yeah. Okay, I have that.
There you are. That's your Friday night sorted.
Yeah. Okay, should we get around to Predator Badlands?
I've been looking forward to this, yeah.
Okay, let's set this one up. So, the Predator franchise continues with its natural evolution into family-friendly 12A action adventure.
Is it 12A?
Yeah, where a perky female robot befriends an emotionally compromised predator, and they go on a heartwarming journey to return a cute, bug-eyed alien to its mother.
What the fuck is this?
Genuinely
the outlet of breath from Britt then, who's like...
What? I just thought, oh, what? I was really looking forward to this. I thought it'd be like a really gritty. Oh, for fuck's sake!
It is certainly a decision that was made.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're going to go into this, but don't be too disheartened by that description.
No.
The reason why it's blagged a 12A rating is because there aren't any
Humans.
flesh and blood humans in the whole film. So he's killing monsters or he's killing androids that look like humans. So they got a lot of leeway there.
It's a strong 12A as well because it's pretty gross. Like in terms of killing monsters and the grisly way they kill off very human-looking robots. Anyway, it is a decidedly different tone, though, to any of the previous installments. It's far lighter. It's full of quips and visual jokes. And it has extensive scenes in which the predators interact in their language and resolve family dramas. Demetrius Schuster Matangi plays Deck, who's a predator who escapes his maniacal father and his home planet and lands on a different planet with loads of hostile creatures to defeat one particular beast.
Can you hear Lazlo opening multiple gin and tonics?
Open it so slowly and carefully. I thought I'd get away with it.
On this planet, he meets a robot called Thea. I can't even remember how they pronounce it in the film. He's played by Elle Fanning, who helps him survive the planet's flora and fauna. Meanwhile, her twin, twin robot, Tessa.
Sorry to interrupt, but how do they interact? Does she just speak English to him and he just gets it?
It's quite cleverly done, actually, because she has like a universal translator built in. And so she's speaking his language, but the dialogue that you hear fades into English. So it's meant to be like she's speaking his language, but what we hear is English. So
that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's nice.
Her twin is who works for Wayland Yutani, is on the planet, and she wants the beast he's tracking as a sample or something, I guess. Anyway, it's a three-way battle between Deck, Wayland Yutani, and this beast, and it was quite a tricky evolution of this franchise because it does not feel like a very natural evolution. So it kind of it could be any aggressive alien creature in the Predator role, to be honest. And the film itself is actually perfectly fine, average, really. It even has some quite cool creature designs, but it does feel a little bit weighed down or even dragged back even by its derivative elements and its callbacks and its pop culture nods. And it kind of makes you think, does this mean that, the original Predator was thinking about his wife and kids at home while he was wrestling up with Arnie at the end of Predator? It's kind of got that going on. I think if it had been its own thing with a new kind of battle-hungry creature and a new universe to develop, I think I would have appreciated it more, but it wouldn't have been made, so what can you do, eh? I did kind of, once you kind of get into you just accept that it is not like old Predator films. There's some quite funny sequences. I like the bit where the robot is remotely controlling her legs to literally kick the ass of a bunch of synthetics. So that's quite good. But yeah, it's fine. I mean, I preferred it to Prey just from an enjoyment perspective. But it's like comparing two unrelated franchises at this point.
Prey is very much more of a traditional Predator film than this, and the action in that was properly gruesome and shocking. Where in this I enjoyed this. I think maybe more than you did, but it was a 3 out of 5 experience. Just because I didn't realize it would annoy me or bother me as much as it did that they're not killing any human beings off. It's like chopping a robot in half is not give you the same kick, from a Predator film that you want as a human being chopped in half. And after the robots all look the same, so it's the same person multiple times over, and they're just chewing through them like fodder. It got kind of boring. I wish that they'd had at least like a central command team of baddie humans that were in charge of the robot people to
Yeah.
chomp through. So that
Yeah.
annoyed me a bit.
It seemed like a very
but
deliberate decision now to have no humans, didn't it?
oh yeah, I mean, for
contrived.
I think for the rating thing, I mean, they
You
could
think
have
it's
made.
as simple as that?
I mean, even when they killed the robots, they could have been spraying out milky pus, like they did in the Alien films. But in this, it's just sparks and clean. It doesn't. It lacks the viscera that you kind of want.
Just reading about this as you were chatting then, and apparently there was a scene edited out to get it from a 15 down to a 12A where at one point he loses his temper and plonks Elle Fanning down, lifts up his skirt and shows her his cock and says in his language, "Look at that, you wouldn't get many of those in a Fiat 500, you lucky bitch." But they cut that out apparently.
Yeah, he said it in his own language, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, however they talk. Over there. Planet Yautja. Yeah, I will watch. No, I was
far away. I think it is genuinely called Planet Yautja or something like that.
So Yautjas, what they are, the species.
Oh,
I
that's
just
a clan, isn't it? Right? Yeah.
I think the planet is actually called Filton Abbey Wood. That was weird. No, I will watch this because I've watched all Predator films apart from the one with Topher Grace in it. And I did like Prey, but I will watch this. When you didn't set it up very well, Rupert, I think you were leading me down an alley so you could touch my feet, weren't you? But I will watch this.
It does. It by the end, it feels like it's going out of its way to kind of piss off purist fans. It really does, because by the end, it's set itself up as like a fucking Guardians of the Galaxy ensemble piece. I'm not even joking. It's astonishing.
Yeah. It does set up a sequel, and you're like, are we only going to get films where the Predator is the lead character from now on? Yeah, which is a bit weird. And also, I don't know if did you guys watch the animated one? Because this is very much of a piece.
No, I really want to watch that as well. I'm gonna watch these two back to back probably when I get a free day.
That was Dan Trachtenberg as well, wasn't it? And he also did Prey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. But
he must really like Predator.
Yeah,
he's definitely exploring it, isn't he?
Yeah. There's criticisms have been levelled at this that it's been like Disneyfied and comparisons to The Mandalorian, and I can see that. I feel like it leaned at times too much into cute characters and pithy one-liners that it didn't need to do. Like it was like embracing a newer audience. Like my other half really enjoyed it, and she's always enjoyed the Mandalorian things. She enjoyed it, I think, more than I did, and laughed at the pithy little quips, and those were making me frown instead. I was going, no, that's a low hanging fruit joke, and I don't need cute little alien characters in my Predator films. So yeah, but I'll probably give it another watch at some time. It was near to. In principle, it should have been my perfect film, because I am one of the idiots who enjoyed the third Riddick film, where it's just, and the first half of that is just him on a planet, killing monsters and scraping by, surviving by the skin of his teeth, and that's kind of a perfect sort of film for me. And I was hoping that this would be that, but it wasn't.
Yeah,
sorry.
I do have a question on the poster in if you go on Wikipedia for Predator Badlands. It's a cool poster, but the sort of shadowy deer-esque antler shape behind them, is that like some sort of cool mega monster that turns up at some point?
That is the Predator, his dad.
Oh
yeah.
Why has he got antlers?
They just wear silly armor, really.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough.
He's like a king type. He's the leader of the clan or whatever.
Oh, fair enough. Right, okay, yeah. I just thought the way he was there was some sort of half-breed thing or whatever. But, well, I've got to be fair. As we can pick these apart as much as we want, but we've come a long way since, like, Alien versus Predator. Like, that was the nadir of the whole thing. So it's good that, like, with Prey, whether you like it or not, with this, it takes into, like, like I say, a Disney Mandalorian. At least they're films that you can both agree are at least okay to good. Whereas there was a point where it's like stop making these films because
Yes,
they're
please
bad
stop.
now. They're really bad. So I'm glad it's had this rebirth, like nearly 40 years on from the original, where they're making decent films and it's back in the public eye, because Predators are cool, and it feels like there's a lot to be mined. So that is quite cool. I will watch this.
And it's made money as well for a change.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's always good to know, isn't it?
doing quite well. So they probably will make more. Also, I don't know about you, Rupert. I really want to watch Predator 2 again. I feel like
Right.
I'm wondering whether that is going to go up in my estimation more off the back of these things, just because it sticks to the roots a little bit more and yet ups the ante.
That's still, like, for me, the order goes Predator, Predator 2, and then Prey. Like, I always thought Predator 2. I love how hot and sweaty it is, and I love the ending as well. So yeah, I think we should watch that. I've said this before, but I really wouldn't mind the three of us getting together for a movie day, and I'd happily start off with Predator 2.
That's absolutely fine.
Let's stop messing around. Let's do it around Christmas.
Just watch a load of sequels.
Predator 2.
Predator 2, Time Cop 2, The Berlin Decision.
Yeah, for the listeners, we did discover this offline, that there's a sequel to Time Cop, and apparently one critic said it was better than the original, which is Tommy Lee Jones, Jean-Claude Van Damme's highest-grossing film. So it's interesting to now I want to go down this little rabbit hole of like straight to DVD sequels that I've never heard of. So, but yeah, we'll get it in the calendar after this. I'll chuck it in the chat. That'll be quite cool to watch some films again. So no, this has got me going. I'm excited about this.
Okay.
I will keep the horror-ishness going, and I will talk about 30 Days of Night, starring Josh Hartnett and Danny Huston, and our boy Ben Foster. Have either of you seen this?
A long time ago.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I've never watched it, and I think Faye was sort of saying, I think I've seen this. So am I okay to dive into this one for a little bit?
Yeah.
Please do.
So this is a 2007 horror film, and again, this is around Halloween. My next film is a horror as well, and it starts off in this Alaskan town where basically there's a month-long polar night, it's called, where it's just dark for a month, like it is in Merthyr all the time. And Josh Hartnett is the sort of sheriff of this town, like a young sheriff with slightly, well, his hair's always unkempt and pushed up at the back like he's just got out of bed, but he wears a hat for most of this because it's a little bit brisk out there, let me tell you. And as everyone's sort of leaving this town, and there's sort of a skeletal staff left just to sort of run the generators, and like wives will go away to visit family because it's so depressing, but the guys who work in the town as like loggers or whatever will stay there. And as this all happens, the music actually, I just realised, is by Brian Reitzel, who I interviewed for Games Freezer years ago, and he sent me a load of free vinyl from LA, which was absolutely fantastic, including a spiritual musical sequel to Logan's Run, which I didn't expect to receive. Good. It's a cracking album as well. Anyway, so what happens is Ben Foster turns up and just starts sabotaging things and gets thrown into prison, and is basically, he looks foul in this film. His teeth the colour of my arse, and he's just like really hairy and dirty and greasy, and they're sort of saying, why are you here, why are you breaking stuff? And he just keeps laughing and saying, you'll see. And then of course Danny Huston and his clan of vampires turn up to sort of feed through this polar winter this month, and the film quickly breaks down into the handful of sheriffs and deputies and the last survivors huddling in a attic just because the vampires are just tearing through them. And I didn't know what to expect for this. But sorry, I got a bit of a cold if I'm sniffing. But I really liked it because it was so like bleak and sparse. And I thought, this is called 30 Days of Night. And there's a part early on in the film where they realise what's happening with these vampires and they hide. And they say, we're going to have to stay in this attic and hope they don't find us in this town. And then I thought, well, is this like set over a single night? How is this working? And it fades out. And then it fades in as day 7. And I thought, fucking hell, they must be bored in that attic. And obviously Melissa George is in it she's got teeth in her mouth, that girl. And she's just got perfect makeup on, perfectly permed hair, and I thought, I don't think you look like that if you've been like weeing in a bucket for 7 days, not having a shower. But I could push that to one side, And I really enjoyed it how the vampires pick them off, and they've got their own language. Like, it's really foul, the language in this film, because the vampires are sort of they've got these horrible. It's not just like fangs; it's like all of their teeth are sharp and pointed, kind of like the guy in Creep Show, which is still one of my favorite monsters. And they can't close their mouths properly. They talk in a series of sort of inhaled screams, exhalations, and clicks. And it's just really horrible because it's completely alien, and they're always like wide-eyed with their mouths open. It's very animalistic, and whilst there's dashes of CG blood, there's plenty of it. And there's a scene in the middle that really tickled me, where Josh Hartnett sort of is making a turn from being this young, I'm out of my depth sheriff, to just adjusting to the fact that this is just kill or be killed. And they're in this police station, like gathering the supplies they can. And one of the guys just says, "I can't do this. I don't want to turn into a vampire. I just want to die because my family are dead and I want to be with them." And Josh Hartnett just goes, "Fair dues," and he just takes him to another room, and everyone's like looking at the floor really awkwardly, and he just cuts his head off screen, but he does it with a series of axe blows, so you can hear the guy like screaming and gasping. And then Josh Hartnett walks back into the main room as if he's done him a favor, and everyone's like frowning at him like, "That was really unpleasant to listen to, that was." That really tickled me. And yeah, I think there's a sequel to this. Ooh. And I'm on my kick of straight to DVD sequels now. Maybe I will watch it. But yeah, he's done. David Slade, the director, did 30 Days of Night, Hard Candy, Black Mirror Bandersnatch, which is cool, and Dark Harvest, which sounds familiar. But yeah, as a vampire film, it's quite unique. And it felt like it was 2 hours long, and it's sort of its time, like with Melissa George and Josh Hartnett. But there's a sort of starkness and coldness to it that makes it quite fun. And there's something about like whenever the vampires get their hands on someone, you know they're not going to have a good time, and it just takes loads of them to hopefully scrape through the sort of skirmish. And I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would.
My memory of this is that like it doesn't do a good job of charting that length of time that they've been there.
No, not at all.
It felt like they've been there one night.
Yes.
And so then when the sun eventually comes up, you're like, really though? Yeah.
Would you have survived 30? Because all the vampires would have to do, because they don't sleep, and they're always, a lot of the vampires are off screen a lot of the time. So you don't, it does the sort of same thing as The Thing does, where it's like constant like whiteout storms, and you've got no sense of geography about the town. You don't really know where the vampires are, or even like how many of them there are. So whilst I can imagine for some people that would be irritating, for me it sort of worked with the film. Like they just like they don't know where anyone is, how many of them there are, where they should go next, how long they're going to survive. But you are right. It really doesn't feel like a month. It feels like a few hours. But I assume they were trying to make it feel a bit woozy in terms of the timeline. But it doesn't. You are right in that it doesn't feel like a month at all. And because they're all like in perfect makeup, you're like, I'm not really getting a sense of this. It's not that kind of grimy film.
It's an odd one where like the concept slightly trips it over by it being 30 Days of Night. They then don't have daytime scenes to help give a sense of passing of time.
Yeah.
It's always feels like the same time. They're always wearing the same outfits. And you start to think about it, you're like, hang on, so they've had a whole month to like search this town. They still haven't checked the attics, or whatever, like of these buildings. There's not that many buildings.
Yes. You do have to push that to one side, because it would have been better if they didn't have this polar month thing, and if it was just a sleepy town, it would have had. I guess they're trying to tie it into the real life thing, which is nice because I didn't know that there was these towns that had polar, and I was reading up about it, so it kind of was slightly educational in that way. But if it was just this is a sleepy Alaskan village and it's like over one night, it probably would have had more of an impact and would have had less plot holes to pick in it.
Yeah. The design is good, is really good, and with the black eyes that they have and stuff, I remember them being really creepy. They really exaggerated their. Just like subtly exaggerated their brows, so they've just got more kind of pointy features and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there's one. I guess he's like an Asian actor, and they've really, it's like a dome skull, and it makes him look like quite animalistic, and it's weird. Like they're all wearing like clothes from slightly different eras and stuff. And there's a scene where one of the vampires gets blasted with like UV rays, and you think, oh, they've got a weapon against them, and instantly the weapon just gets smashed to bits, and you're like, okay, and but then they have to sort of euthanize this vampire, and you realize that UV rays in this, it's basically when it burns them, it's a burn that never stops burning, which is quite foul, and she is screaming, and he has to kill her to put out of her misery. And that's where Danny Houston stands up and says, right, they're really ticking me off now. But yeah, it was. I did enjoy it, and I think, unlike They Live, I would happily watch this again next Halloween. I did enjoy it.
And Danny Houston playing a good guy. Yeah, nice guy.
As always.
No, the leader of the vampire clan, actually, Lazlo. Yeah.
Oh,
he's not the romantic lead in this.
It's weird.
He's not like this sort of saunters into town with his jacket over his shoulder.
Has he ever played anyone who isn't sinister, at least?
Yeah.
I can't think of...
I don't think I've ever seen him play a straight-up good guy in anything.
No, I think... Genuinely have to go through his filmography to try and track one down.
Dear. So yes, that's a recommendation from me. I bloody enjoyed it. And Ben Foster, he's only in it for the first 20 minutes, but he just steals the he always does.
Yeah. Is he playing a really light character and like really breezy, load of one-liners and quips?
No, he's a completely insane sort of puppet of the vampires who looks like the actual detritus of humanity. And just dribbling and slurping and snot out of his nose. I love actors like that who don't give a shit how they're portrayed.
He doesn't give a shit, does he?
He doesn't give a shit.
Alpha Dog, is it that he's in, where he takes a shit on somebody's living room floor, and it'll never be out of my brain. Like he's sort of straining whilst like squatting down. It's just, you don't see it, but just his expression whilst doing it is just so rank.
He strikes me as
like
a kind
no
of
vanity there,
like a Shia LaBeouf sort of thing, where it's like this is my, for good or bad, this is how I approach my art, and I don't care how poorly I'm portrayed. I'm not a sex symbol. I'm an actor, and this is how I act. I do like that. I think it appeals to the sort of like Nick Nolte, Charles Bukowski lover in me. You know, these like cantankerous men who don't give a shit, and or Neil Young, where they just like follow their muse. I do like that. You can't knock that. Francis Ford Coppola will knock it, but not me. So Lazlo,
not on this podcast.
I pass the drained virgin to you to suck upon.
You pass me the stick of dynamite. That is the House of Dynamite.
Oh,
I saw this today.
Oh, there we go. So
On
this
lunch.
is the new. I'm wondering if your opinion will be different to mine or not.
Okay.
I didn't really like it. How about you?
I thought it was okay. So there you
For
go.
the first half hour?
Ringing endorsement.
Yeah. So this is the new film from Catherine Bigelow, who's not exactly prolific, but she's made some very good films over the years, including Near Dark and Point Break and
Zero Dark 30.
Yes. And what's the one with the bombs?
What was the one with the bombs?
Afghanistan.
The Jeremy
The
Renner
Hurt
one.
Locker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And Blue
Rock
Steel.
Solid and Stranger Days, which you can't find anywhere, annoyingly. I really want to see that again. Anyway, she's made this now for Netflix, and this is a film about a realistic take on a nuclear missile being fired at mainland USA and how they deal with that technically and emotionally from the people who know that it's coming, which feels kind of like on the button, I guess, for the climate right now, as we've got increasing tensions with Russia and so on. So it feels of the moment. And for the first half an hour, I was completely enraptured by this film. It was some of the most intense kind of 30 minutes of just like horror film where it's not a horror, it's a real life catastrophe, and seeing the top level US military figures fumbling and this nuke slipping through their fingers as they think they're going to be able to stop it landing.
But what about the second half an hour and the third half an hour, Lazlo?
Well, yes. So if you're expecting fireworks in this film, you will be sorely disappointed, because at the half-hour point, at the moment of impact, it then jumps back in time and replays the same sequence of events from a slightly different perspective.
But not that
so
different.
Someone that they called up
genuinely
on a Zoom call,
one of my least favourite things in films.
Yeah.
That's
You'll
fantastic to hear.
Kicking yourself in the face with a lack of enjoyment watching this. They then, like, it's not even a whole new perspective. It's like someone that they talk to on a Zoom call. We're then with the other person whilst they have the same Zoom conversation about the same thing. So it's a barely different perspective.
Yeah, this is a very important point you're making it, because this, like, you're thinking. So, for example, the President of the United States, played by Idris Elba, is like, his camera's off and it keeps zooming in on it, and you can hear him talking, and he says things, and he's clearly losing his temper, and you're thinking, he sounds a bit pissed off. He just sounds a bit just aggravated more than anything, and you're thinking, there must be something else going on here. Like, and he keeps thinking this about characters, like, okay, when we see the next perspective, maybe it's going to put a new twist on it or whatever. But then he gets to the next character, the next perspective, and it's like, well, no, it's pretty much just what they heard on the call. Like, he's just pissed off or, stressed. It's like, there's no, by shifting the perspective, there's no new insights, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. There's an implication almost that somebody may be complicit with this because they don't know where it's been launched from, which I feel like is kind of another indication that it's pulling its punches.
Massively.
But then you think, okay, maybe they're complicit with it. Maybe they know something that these head of the security teams don't know. But then when you meet them, they're like, he's just distracted. He's like at a basketball game or something that he then has to leave. And you're like, oh, it doesn't elevate the conspiracy. It's everything in that first half an hour is just repeated. Doesn't, you don't get anything new out of it. And
you just learn how it's slightly inconvenienced different people.
Yeah. And the varying people have, and there's so many famous faces in this in minor little roles, and you're thinking, okay, maybe we're going to find out what they're up to, but then some of them don't even reappear, and you're like, okay, no, never mind. And by the end of the third half an hour of this, and I feel like there's more than that, there's probably more than half an hour because it wasn't an hour and I wish it was an hour and a half, but it was probably 2 hours plus. You're kind of done with it. I was bored. And I was like, please. And when Idris Elba started farting around at the basketball match or whatever it was, I was like, just end. I've had enough. I'm done. The tension is evaporated completely. And you're thinking, well, at least maybe at the end of this whole film, it's either going to conclusively say whether this nuke hit or didn't or do something.
Pulls that punch as well, isn't it?
It doesn't do that either. I literally shouted out, what the fuck, at the end. And not in a shocked way, but in a how annoying way.
This film has got the longest Wikipedia plot entry I've ever seen. It is just pages of text.
Just check.
It's also not a film.
Just check it's not the same paragraphs repeated 3 times.
It is. It says at the top that the film is non-chronological, showing the same sequence 3 times. Oh. When you were watching this film, I don't know if you had the sound turned up high enough, but Rebecca Ferguson, did she ever look at the camera and say, "Oh, hi, Britt, I fancy you"?
She did, actually. So it's been
nice.
out of place. Yeah.
The post-credit scene.
Everyone's good.
Yeah, but, like, just make it about her. Like, just stick with her.
Yeah, because you're like, you're thinking, oh, this is cool. This is going to be like classic Catherine Bigelow, like female hero type thing. But then And that's the other thing, of course, is that you get half an hour of these people and then they just kind of disappear because there's nothing conclusive about any of it. And yeah, it pulls its punches massively. Like the whole thing about never finding out who actually launched it, never finding out whether it hits, never finding out what the retaliatory action of the president is. It's like what it does is it takes like this incredibly dramatic, apocalyptic subject matter and somehow makes it feel really slight and irrelevant.
Yeah. I appreciate there's not really a tasteful way of approaching this. Like, I mean, I was thinking about that scene in Sum of All Fears, if you remember that, where a nuke hits Baltimore or something, and it's genuinely like a shocking kind of moment, and it's done in a grounded way that doesn't feel action movie-ish, and you know, like there's people who are in range of it who then die of radiation poisoning and stuff, and it's like, okay, they didn't shy away from that, and but this film is like so concerned with, I don't know, playing it I don't know, in a grown-up way that it can't just
It's coy, isn't it?
I can't remember if the Sum of All Fears, the video game tie-in on the PS2, if it was like a real keeper or if it was a load of really lazy shit. Hang on. It's the latter. It's the latter. I remember now. Yes, a load of lazy bollocks. Yeah, that's that doesn't sound good at all, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we can all imagine like the horror of that possibility. And so, but that's about as far as it goes. Sort of stuff that's already in your head if you bother to think about it for 5 minutes.
If I worked for the American government, if there was ever like a missile launch, you know, like in Spy Game, it's called Operation Dinner Out, is like the key thing that they use in it, like to rescue Brad Pitt. I think if I was in the American government, I would say, look, before I retire, if there's ever a nuclear attack in the United States and we know a nuke is heading towards one of our states, can we please call it Operation? All right. Because it would be such an understated thing to say. I'm afraid Operation, all right, has kicked off, President. Like,
having to slow down as you say it.
Yeah, having to like, okay. Operation Careful now. Yeah, all the... That would be really good. They probably wouldn't do it though.
No. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I didn't like it at all. Actually, thinking about it, convinced me I didn't like it.
It gets worse in memory.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Have we got time for? I can quickly do one.
I got one because then I'm totally up to date. So if you do one, I'll do one, and then we'll do the ArkinZ'Dar.
Okay, I'll whiz through Frankenstein.
This is on my list, but I didn't make any notes, so yes, good. We'll get this out of the way.
Yeah, this is on Netflix. This is Guillermo del Toro's latest heart-rending monster movie.
Faye has got her eye on this, by the way, so I'm very intrigued as to what you're going to say.
It definitely has makeup in it. Yeah, so this is Netflix. I guess it's part of his deal with Netflix. Tokenistically wafted through like 5 cinemas before being dumped on Netflix. It's based on Mary Shelley's 1818 novel, and of course it's a labour of love for Del Toro. So near the North Pole, a man is rescued by Danish sailors from a humanoid monster, and as the monster tries to get on the ship, the man, Victor Frankenstein, tells his story about his brutal father, about his time as a surgeon in Edinburgh, about exploring the possibility of reanimating dead flesh, farming bodies from war, creating his creature, and then how he loses control of it. And then we get the monster story, which kind of carries on where Victor's left off. And this is about this deathless, cursed creature surviving in a world that hates him and finding his way back to Victor to get his revenge. And, I mean, the film looks unbelievably stunning. Like, the production design is unreal. It's like, you know, like with Crimson Peak or Hellboy, it's what happens when you just throw money at an artist, and it looks incredible. And there's some good performances, some slightly wayward accents. Oscar Isaac. Yeah, he's not bad. I mean, he has the appropriate intensity, definitely. I think the real star is Jacob Elordi, the very tall Australian guy from Saltburn, and it's a really good physical performance as the creature. But I will say, Del Toro, his tendency for ultraviolence, like juxtaposed with sickly sentimentality, is really in full force here. Is like, he's a master of his craft. He really is. But I think he's hamstrung by his sentimentality. I was really wrapped up in it, but there's a certain point where you know it's leading up to like a sentimental ending, which is unbelievably laboured. It's not quite as cheesy as The Shape of Water, but it's also not as like brooding and lavish and intense as Crimson Peak. And I have to say, I got flashbacks to American Werewolf in London when Victor, whose estate appears to be in a pleasant northern European location, possibly even northern England, chases the creature on foot to the North Pole. I literally don't know how it's possible, but that actually happens, and he's like wounded as well, and it's just on foot. And bear in mind that
before he set off from my recollection.
Does he bump into Chris McCandless and say, "Oh, can I have one of those fruit pastels?"
But the thing is, because the boat at the start with the Danish sailors, the boat is like churning through the ice in this hostile wasteland, right? And they're desperate to get there, and like this whole crew could barely get there. And this Victor, he just wanders over.
He's in York, right? He's in York, and he's like getting him, and he starts off with he starts off with a trot, and they end up off an island on the North Pole.
Yeah,
what's he wearing? Has he got like a t-shirt and flip flops on as well when he's chasing?
He's got an overcoat.
Oh, there we go then. As long as he's got something from
He's in a really rough shape. He's been thrown about by this creature.
Isn't he been like shot or something as well?
Like that. He's like bleeding. I'm pretty sure he goes out into the snow. Anyway, overall, I think it's a very watchable movie, which isn't boring until the last 20 minutes. So you get 2 hours of high value from it, I'd say. I liked it mostly.
Yeah.
Not as much as other Del Toro films.
It genuinely, for me, the same. I was really on board with it and really enjoying it up until the last 20 minutes or so, maybe even half an hour, where just plot beats, just basic storytelling things happen. You know, just like somebody suddenly declares their love for someone and throws themselves in front of a bullet. And you're like, but why? They only just met. And you're like, because it just has to happen that way, I guess. And it just, plot developments just occur. And yes, like you say, they just walk from wherever they are in England to the icy wastes of the
northern tundras.
Whatever. It's like leans too heavily on fairy tale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That really tickled me. I didn't expect you to say that. Is it? I'm a crier with these sorts. You say it's sentimental, but is it? Will I cry at the end of this?
I was not.
It's not like Pinocchio where I had to go to bed.
No, you'll be fine.
Oh, okay.
No, you'll be all right with this.
That really tickled me.
The makeup is incredible. With one exception.
Everything looks amazing. The set design, the makeup.
I thought the monster had been enhanced like digitally to be taller and stuff, but apparently not. Like he spent 10 hours in makeup getting a full body prosthetic every day.
Oh, fair play to him.
Pretty hardcore, yeah.
I will. Faye loves this sort of thing, so I will watch that with her. How long is
I'd be interested to see what Faye makes of the one bit of makeup that I didn't like. Was weirdly Mia Goth plays the main character's mum when he's a child, and then the girl that he fancies when he's an adult. They're not related. For some reason, she played both parts, and she's got a weird prosthetic nose to make her look different in the past, and I immediately spotted it. So I'd be curious to see if Faye has the same experience. But
what I'll do is I won't tell her because she doesn't listen to this podcast. She only listens to good podcasts, and I won't tell her. But when that happens, I'll just give her the side eye and see what she does.
she's twitching.
Because she'll do this thing where I won't notice something. I'll be watching it, and then it'll be close to someone with like a bruise or blood, and she'll go, and then I'll pause the film and say what's happening, and then she'll bore me. So yeah, I will. I'll definitely test her on that one. Can I be rude and? Go on. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say it's long. By the way, you want to set aside an afternoon for this one.
Oh, it's not. I've actually got it up on Wikipedia. I could just look. It is 150 minutes. I'm never watching it then.
I don't feel it.
I sat out the window.
It's a weird one because it doesn't feel that long until the last half an hour, and then it slows down, and it's like, oh my god, really? So laboured the ending, but it almost makes it. You know?
Yeah, I wasn't bored.
No.
You can't really be bored in a Guillermo del Toro film because even if the actual film acting, it's so sumptuous in the setting that there's always something to enjoy, isn't there?
Yeah, it is stunning to look at.
Can I squeeze in a quick horror before we go on to the final part?
Sure.
Because this is what I watched. It was a really funny. I've been saving this because it does involve Faye again. That I was we were watching. Axel went to bed really early in Halloween. We had all these things planned, and he just fell asleep at 7:00, which is fine. And then I said, "Right, we can watch a film." So I basically prepped up like 4 or 5 modern horrors, and then I went in to like pour our drinks and settle down. And she said, "I found one," and I said, "Oh, what is it, darling? Is it like Halloween or was?" And she said, "No, it's Scream Time, a 1983 British horror anthology." And I said, "Right." I've never heard of it, but it's from the year of my birth. And have either of you heard of this film, Scream Time?
It doesn't ring a bell.
It's a big recommendation from me because it's so bizarre. So this is a horror anthology, and the sort of wraparound is that I think it's in New York. It's these guys run into a video shop and steal a load of films, and then the sort of in between the 3 horror film segments that 20 minutes each, it's them just changing the films over and smoking fags and like swearing in New York. But all of the films that they're watching are like really British, and it's a Britishness that's really bizarre to see in horror because it's almost like a Coronation Street-y sort of Britishness, like really like sort of grainily filmed stuff with, I would assume that they're theatre actors thrown into this horror film, and it gives it like a weird off-kilter vibe. So the first film is called Killer Punch, and it's about this old bloke who lives with his wife, and he's just got a twat of a stepson, and his passion is just going down to the beach, I guess, in like Brighton or whatever, and doing like a Punch and Judy show. And then as the stepson just gets, he's one of those people. He's probably the ultimate. You know those people you love to hate, like Sully from Commando, these like ratty little small man syndrome guys. It's one of those with like this gang of youths, and he's just, considering this guy just likes to do Punch and Judy, and he's like really harmless. This stepson really pisses you off because you think, can you just leave your dad alone? He's just a nice man. But of course, someone then starts killing people with a piece of wood while doing a Punch voice, which is quite always creepy. It reminds me of that. Was it the New York Ripper, where someone is killing people with a knife, and it's all POV shots in the 70s, and he's doing like a Donald Duck quack as he does it, and it's really unsettling. Have you ever seen that film? It's horrible. Like, it's women, and it shows them going around the house and stuff, and they'll be attacked in a POV thing, like Maniac, and there's someone going and doing like duck noises as they kill them.
Jesus.
It's really weird and horrible. It's that kind of thing, because he's doing like the Punch high-pitched child's voice. Anyway, that was cool. Second part was my favourite. It's called Dream House, and it's about a couple who move into a house, and she keeps on having visions of these like weird things happening, and there's a really cool little twist that I didn't expect in it that sits really nicely, and I didn't see it coming, because I was like, well, what are these visions? And then when it reveals itself, I thought that's actually really cool. And the third one is about a burglar who goes to this house, sort of a mansion of these three, like obviously women who've got like rich husbands who passed away, and they live in there, and they just get him as a gardener. But then they're really protective of like the gnomes in the garden, and basically they come to life and kill him at the end when he's trying to rob it, which is quite cool. And then there's like a little wraparound story at the end with the weird New York guys, and it was really weird in a great way. Like obviously some stories are better than others, but it's only like 90 minutes or 89 minutes, and it reminded me. This is pre Lazlo, so I do apologize. A few years ago when I watched that Canadian film, Rupert, and it was that film where they ran out of money halfway through, and the first half was really visually enticing, where they were in this sort of ski lodge, and and then they clearly ran out of money, and it just got very strange and odd. Do you remember that?
I remember you talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's on Prime, and it was not a good film by any means, but it felt like a little treat, like something that shouldn't have been released but somehow was. And when actually weeks after I watched this, I was making notes for this episode, and I was scrolling down, and just to show the power of Amazon Prime, it says on the Wikipedia entry, the home video release. This film was released on VHS in 1985 by Lightning Video in the US, and as of 2024, it is yet to be officially released on DVD or Blu-ray, but it can be streamed on Amazon Prime. And it just when I finished watching, I thought, I really enjoyed that, because it's something that would never be recommended to you. You'd have to stumble across it, and it felt like a little, very British treat, if you know what I mean, like a little, like a true hidden gem. So yeah, that was my Halloween film, and I was really pleased with it. So yes, I understand this. We've overrun our 2 hours now. So Screen Time is an Amazon Prime. Like a kitchen sink British horror. Get on it.
That sounds amazing.
And now we move to the ArkinZ'Dar, which is Hugh Grant to Andy Garcia. So I'll go first, because I very rarely do these, and I was walking to work this morning, actually. I thought, oh, John, I'm going to do this. So Hugh Grant to Andy Garcia, I thought, well, Hugh Grant is in Notting Hill with Julia Roberts, who was in one of the Oceans films with Andy Garcia.
Yes. Andy Garcia is in Ocean's 12 with Julia Roberts, who's in Notting Hill with Hugh Grant.
I see.
Well, I've got Ocean's 11. He's in that too.
I just knew it was an Ocean's film. I don't know which one it is.
I've never actually seen them, but I knew. I thought Julia Roberts, didn't she like play herself or something in the second one?
Oh yeah, it's embarrassing. It's awful.
Yeah,
Is that what?
Oh, so everyone else provided the same answer?
Yeah, is everyone doing the same one?
Well, I was desperate. to get mentioned The Gentleman, because it's one of my favourite Guy Ritchie films with Hugh Grant. But I just thought I'm overcomplicating this. Just a three-stepper. Max said Hugh Grant is in Notting Hill with Julia Roberts, and she's in Ocean's 11 with Andy Garcia. Dave Chod said. Quite an occasional winner of this, actually. He said Hugh Grant is in Bridget Jones's Diary with Colin Firth, who's in Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again with Andy Garcia.
Oh,
that was a nice one.
He's going to win for picking a different path.
Lee Wiles. Hello to Uncle Lee. I haven't seen him for a long time. He's got a fantastic bum, that man. Hugh Grant is in Mickey Blue Eyes with James Caan. James Caan is in Godfather 1 and 2 with Al Pacino, and Al Pacino is in Godfather 3 with Andy Garcia.
That is true.
Utah Smith says Hugh Grant is in Notting Hill with Julia Roberts to Andy Garcia in Ocean's 11. And my dad said, does it count if they were both on Sky Sports at the Alfred Dunhill Golf Cup in St Andrews?
Yes.
And I said, yes, it does now. So they were part of the Alfred Dunhill Golf tournament, at St Andrews. So that's a bit of an esoteric one, but fantastic nonetheless. So, yeah, should we give Dave Chod the win? Because it was not the usual...
he chose something slightly different.
Was the Godfather 1 3 or 2 steps?
It was 3.
Oh, it was 3, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you had to go from Godfather 1 and 2 to 3. That was a strange sentence. Sorry. So, before we go on to Film of the Week, should we set up the ArkinZ'Dar for next time? What are we thinking?
Oscar Isaac to George Kennedy. I'm just going to throw it out.
You said that. You said that with real vigor in your voice.
I was already thinking about it.
I thought I could hear your eyes rolling back halfway through the podcast, so I assumed that's what it was. The Wild Arts have got a live DVD called "This Room Smells Like Eyes," which is horrible.
Jesus Christ!
Like if you had so many eyes in one place, you could actually smell them if you put your head in the jar. I say, what would eyes smell like? So
like a jar
yes,
of pickled onions, but eyes in there.
yeah, like slightly wet, sort of like inside a person's body smell. What are we thinking about the films of the weekend, guys?
Sorry, have we accepted Oscar Isaac to George Kennedy as the thing? I mean, I was
Yes, we have.
George Kennedy that's.
You're gonna have to find a way.
Fucking
Well,
hell.
we mentioned him. He was in. Would you say he was in like Naked Gun?
Yeah, but who else is in
He's in
Naked
Hired
Gun?
to Kill. Remember that?
Yeah, Hired to Kill. So that's Brian Thompson, Oliver
He's in
Reed, got some
Thunderbolt and
classics.
Lightfoot. So
Jeff Bridges and Clint Eastwood. So we were
Bridges
given
and
the
Clint,
clues.
I mean, yeah, that's a decent outlet,
Yeah.
I suppose.
So we've thrown some. That's
last
a
one was
good
too
one,
easy.
actually.
Let's make this one a bit trickier.
Okay. Okay.
I do you know my films of the week? It would be a toss between 30 Days of Night, but I'm going to say Scream Time just because I can't imagine many people have seen it, and it was a very unique blend of sort of like 80s theatrical Britishness and what's it called? Not analog. What's the word? I'm tired. When there's a group anthology, like a horror anthology, so that was quite nice. It was a good follow-up for the that Kenny Everett film I watched in the last episode. So, what are your films of the week, guys?
I mean, I watched The Running Man from 1987, so there isn't really anything else I can say about that.
There's no competition there, really, is there?
I kind of slagged off everything tonight. I guess
Same.
Black Bag, maybe, or All the President's Men, but I feel like that's too obvious. So I will go with. I don't. Yeah, I'll go with Black
obvious.
Bag. Why not?
Okay.
Nice. No, I love you both, and I think that's a perfect place to end the podcast. So thank you for listening, everyone. We'll be back hopefully in the next week or two with another one. And as all the time, as everyone knows, we end the podcast by closing our eyes and shoving our fists in our mouth.